Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. And the Ngannou face of boxing, France's dual citizen of France and Cameroon, Ngannou. Listen, people, now I got to be honest with you. I think Anthony Joshua beats Francis Ngannou, and that doesn't take anything away from Francis Ngannou. I think he's in over his head facing a guy like AJ. But you can't sleep on Francis Ngannou because once you know his story and you kind of know what motivates him, you can't expect him to just get binged in there and decide to quit. But something that's interesting about Francis Ngannou is as far as how he's going to keep performing in the sport of boxing after the Anthony Joshua fight, because he'll be 0-2. He plans on returning to MMA. And I just don't know, how well he can do kind of flip-flopping between MMA training and being a boxer. But that's what he wants to do. But he recently announced his return to MMA for the first time since January 2022, where he's supposed to be facing some guy who's like 6 feet 8 inches. His name is Renan Ferreira. And that's supposed to take place after he fights Anthony Joshua, win or lose. But he is going to be fighting Anthony Joshua over 10 rounds. And of course, if you don't know, the card's being billed as knockout chaos. That's because Zhilei Zhang is fighting Joseph Parker. I do think a big knockout's going to happen there. I don't think Joseph Parker is going to be knocking anyone out. I think Zhilei Zhang is going to hit him with the Chinese bing, or as Zhilei Zhang would like to say it, Chinese power. And with Joshua and Ngannou, anything can happen in that fight. But I think AJ is going to hit Francis Ngannou with something that Francis Ngannou is not going to like. But, anything can happen in that fight. I just think AJ has too much skill. But again, anything can happen. So anybody who wants to come back to this video and say, Hood Champion, you took it to the stupid, you were wrong. Look, I'm telling you, my man, it's hard for me to go against AJ, but I understand what Francis Ngannou what he can do with those fists. But this is the thing. Just what's the expectation? What's the real expectation when it comes to Francis Ngannou in the sport of boxing? Okay, he left the UFC, wanted to make some real money because Dana White, he's cheap. He's not paying his guys any serious money. The guy's a billionaire, I think, a couple times over. But, it is what it is. Those MMA fighters don't really have anywhere else to go to make, the kind of money that the UFC is paying them. So, and he knows that, and he kind of controls the market, and he definitely runs an iron-fisted type of business where you do what I say, you fight who I say you'll fight, and it's take the money I'm going to give you or you can leave. But aside from Francis Ngannou just coming over here and creating a kind of freak show of an exhibition-style sanctioned boxing match, what's the real expectation for him? Does anyone out here really think Francis Ngannou is going to become a heavyweight champion? I mean, come on now. How many fights are y'all really looking at Francis Ngannou having? Now, I do think they're going to, after Anthony Joshua, they'll probably line Francis Ngannou up against someone who he can beat. You may see him fight Dillian White. You may see him fight Deontay Wilder. He will never fight Zhilei Zhang because Zhilei Zhang will hit him with the Chinese bing. But after Anthony Joshua, what's there for Francis Ngannou to do? He fought the number one guy in Fury. 2 is Usyk. Then he's fighting Anthony Joshua. For him to go into another big fight, what people are going to want to see, because he did good against Fury, to where people are like, we got to see him again. Now he's going up against AJ. AJ's not as mentally strong as Fury, in my opinion. So this is why some people are giving him a chance. But as far as Anthony Joshua being a complete boxer, Tyson Fury can't touch Anthony Joshua as far as just all the attributes that Anthony Joshua possesses. Anthony Joshua should be undefeated, in my opinion. But he took it to the stupid in a couple fights and paid the price. So for Francis Ngannou, once he loses to AJ, really we got to look at what's really out there for Francis Ngannou once he takes this loss to Anthony Joshua. Now I'm going to pull something up for us to take a look at because I'm trying to do a little matchmaking here because Francis Ngannou's not going away. Okay, so let me do this because he is not going away. So he already fought Fury. Now he's fighting AJ, right? He's not. I don't think he'll end up fighting Usyk. You got Zhang, Parker, Hrgovic, Frank Sanchez, Jared Anderson, Joyce, Deontay Wilder. Out of all these names, the one name that jumps out to me is Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder against Francis Ngannou is probably the next fight for Francis, and it's the fight that Francis says he wants. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I think Francis Ngannou beats Deontay Wilder. Some people are probably saying, oh, Hood champion. How can you say that? Easy. Deontay Wilder, I think he's checked out of boxing, and he just wants to get paid some money. But as far as really putting in the work and trying to continue with the knockout streak that he had going and getting in the ring, and he even had a left hand before. People say, "Oh, he's never had a left hand." Yes, he did, man. Throw his jab, throw his hook, throw his right hand, come back with the left hook. He doesn't do that anymore. So I just think he gets in there with a guy like Ngannou, who has reached the same as Deontay Wilder's. I think Ngannou may get a huge win, and it unfortunately be at Deontay Wilder's expense. Then after that, he'll be talking about who he's going to fight next, and then he could end up fighting someone like a Zhang or someone else. But when you take a look at these names out here, Daniel Dubois, that could be a fight for him. I know, what's his name, the crazy one over there, Derek Chisora wants to fight him. But I think it'd be interesting to take the Cameroonian and put him up against Efe Ajagba. But you got Andy Ruiz if he ever comes back to the sport of boxing. But the bottom line is, when you talk about Francis Ngannou, I'm just not so sure we'll ever hear and the Ngannou champion of the heavyweight division. You know what I'm saying? And the Ngannou WBO heavyweight champion, the Ngannou IBF WBC WBA heavyweight champion. I don't think he'll ever get to that point. But with this fight here, this man's made so much money. These two fights, this man has made $30+ million. He would have made $30+ million. Francis Ngannou was one, in my opinion. But that being said, we'll see just how far they want to go with this. But I do think with that deal he signed over there with the PFL, he can box and he can do MMA. And Francis Ngannou, he's going to stay busy because he finally gets what he wants. Although he's a little bit up there in age, he's going to make a whole lot of money over the next few years. In boxing, he ain't taking that much damage. He's getting hit in the face and shit, but he's not getting kicked in the knee. In MMA, we'll see how it goes there. If he can remain injury-free, Francis Ngannou may be probably the most active combatant in sports today. Because I could only imagine him maybe fighting boxing twice a year, doing MMA bouts two times a year. He may be out here fighting, 3 to 5 times a year in MMA and boxing. Because, if he gets in those MMA bouts, he tranquilizes somebody. That fight ain't gonna last very long. But we gotta wait and see. But anyway, I'm rooting for Francis Ngannou because I like his story. But to just be real, I don't think he can beat Anthony Joshua. So the Ngannou, I think he's probably the new conversation piece when it comes to boxing. But other than that, he's no champion. Y'all keep cool. I'm in the breeze.